Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Abundant Thinking. This is the podcast that helps you take your mindset from ordinary to extraordinary. Today, we're going to be talking about why comparison is killing your growth and also how to fix it. Comparison, guys, is a huge problem that I see amongst other people. You have this baseline that, okay, this person is better than me at this thing, so that means that they have to automatically be better as a person than me. A very good example of this is in my last episode, I was talking about my first fight that I had, and I took on 19-day notice. And when my teammates would be telling me how my opponent is extremely fast, like, be careful, he's super fast, he's quick, he's got good footwork. When I heard that, it automatically made me think that he's better than me at this thing, right? But what I realized and ended up journaling about was when people say things like that, when somebody says, oh, this person's really smart, or this person's not an extremely good person to work with, they're comparing to their baseline. Imagine the smartest person in the world says to another person, that person isn't that smart. But who is that person comparing to, right? If he's the smartest person in the world, of course that person isn't going to seem smart to them, but to you, this guy might be a super genius. Similarly, my teammates were telling me, oh, this guy's super fast, watch his footwork. And that made me think, oh, his footwork's better than mine. He's faster than me. He's got it all down. He's just overall a better fighter than me. But they're comparing to their baseline because guess what? I'm fast too. I got good footwork as well. But people that compare other people to whether it be themselves or just people outside of their circle, this is what ends up happening. It's this common tendency to say these things and have it rub off on other people. When people tell me that, oh, my opponent is, be careful with this. Oh, he's got a good question mark kick. It makes me think that, oh, he's got such a good question mark kick, he's going to knock me out instantly. Like, this guy is just the best in the world. But he's not. We're the same skill level. It's very similar to that in life, right? Comparison is killing your growth because when other people compare people to you, it makes you think that you're not in a good spot. But be careful of who you're comparing yourself to and who others compare you to as well. So if you're comparing yourself to somebody who's a lot higher than you, that is never going to get you in a good spot. It's good to look up to people. It's good to think, oh, somebody who's successful like Gary Vee is a good businessman. I want to be like him. That's fine. But don't compare yourself because these people have so much experience and so much time that you don't even know about. And for you to compare them to you is extremely unrealistic. It is a guaranteed path to misery. Another thing that I think is the goalpost always moves. So say you are comparing yourself to somebody and you get to their level, you're just going to compare yourself to the next person that's on top of that. It's like, oh, my grandpa was a good businessman. I really look up to him. And then eventually you become better than your grandpa. Then you start looking up to people that are making X amount of money per year. Then once you get there, you keep looking up. You're never able to be satisfied with what you have. You're never content, right? When you're comparing yourself. And when other people are comparing you, you're so worried about their opinions and what they think about you that you completely let it affect your game. Think of your life as a self journey, right? You are responsible for yourself, and other people won't get you to where you want to go. They won't get you to your goals, to your destination, because they don't know anything about you. I guarantee you that your life is not as private as you may think it is. Even if you think it's, if you're living a private life, it is a lot more private than you think. I know all of my friends don't understand how much time I spend on this podcast. They don't understand how much work it takes for everything, but I'm not going to tell them because I'm doing this for me. This may sound a little bit selfish, but you can't always spend your time worrying about other people and giving things to others because at the end of the day, what are you left with? They could leave you high and dry. I know this is a pretty cynical way of looking at the world and looking at people, but understand that you are with yourself 100% of the time and you're with other people 1% of the time. The number one thing that I talk about when it comes to comparing people and when people compare you is don't worry about people's opinions so much because the majority of your time is spent with yourself. Would you rather have your approval but other people disapprove or other people's approval but you disapprove of yourself? If you disapprove of yourself and you spend all that time by yourself thinking to yourself that you're a failure, you can't do this, and the 1% of your time when you're outside with other people and friends, you enjoy yourself, that is a miserable life, in my opinion. I would never want that. In a way, I live not the complete opposite, but I like to put all my eggs into me. And I wouldn't even go as far as to say all of them, but I will say even when I put my eggs into other people, I'm working on myself in a way as well. When I talk to other people, when I want to know about other people's day, it allows me to be better in conversation. And life isn't this game of, oh, improve your skills, and then that's it. Like, you obviously want to have a little bit of empathy towards people, care about others, but know where to draw the line. You have to be relentless. And the number one thing that you hear from so many entrepreneurs is that you have to be extremely selfish with your time. And people don't understand that. I always see people that I guess aren't too much in the entrepreneurship space and they don't research these types of topics. They think to themselves, oh, this person's such a douche. This person's such a douchebag. This person's a terrible person. But the thing is, they are in the position that they're in because of the time that they've spent with themselves and away from other people. Like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, they spent so much time practicing and not worrying about other people. They spent time outside of the spotlight to get better in themselves. They didn't get comfortable. And people could describe, and people do describe the most successful people in the world as douchebags, right? Steve Jobs, terrible person. Some people say Elon Musk, terrible person to work for as well, right? That's how it is. That's how the game is played, whether you realize it or not. If you want to get to a certain level, you need to be the terrible person. And I'm not saying you need to be a terrible person, you need to be extremely rude all the time, but you need to know where to draw the line. If you're running a business, if you're doing something extremely important, you might need to tell that person, hey, stop slacking off. You need to put the fist down. That's how it is. I think this idea of your life being a self journey of you just improving yourself is an amazing way of looking at things, because then you're able to compare yourself from the past rather than looking at yourself in the future. If you compare yourself in the past and think to yourself, oh man, I remember when I was doing this thing, I'm so happy, I'm so much better now, you can see the progress that you've made. But it's hard to see the progress that you've made when you're comparing yourself to Jeff Bezos.
Before we dive deeper into this topic, I want to talk to you guys about the sponsor of today's episode. Oh yeah, there are none. I know I don't usually ask you guys for favors on this show unless it's something like commenting or liking and giving me your feedback, but today I do have something to ask of you. I have started a 100% free school community where I'm going to be teaching people how to utilize their mindset and go from having an ordinary mindset to an extraordinary mindset. Not only will I have courses and modules for you guys to watch, but I also have a community of people that would love to connect with you. If this is something that you think interests you, make sure to go down to the show notes, description, or maybe even ask me one-on-one, and I would be more than happy to send you this free link to a community where you can improve your mindset. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of this episode.
Life is a lifelong journey of self-acceptance. Alex Hormozy says that. And he mentions this idea that, people that are old just don't care about anything. They'll wear whatever they want. They kind of say whatever they want as well because they don't care anymore. They've reached a point in life where it's not important. So why not cut off some of the time that it takes you to get there? If you know that life is a long journey of accepting yourself, and by the time you become old, you're going to finally be in a position where you say, I don't care about other people. Why don't you shortcut it and start it now? You need to look at yourself deep, have a deep analysis of yourself, and think to yourselves about what are the reasons that you care about people so much. Again, in my last episode, I mentioned that winning my fight was such a big deal for me. And then I thought about it and I was like, why is it a big deal? And I came to the conclusion that it was for my ego. It was for people accepting me and thinking, oh, this person won his fight. That's amazing. And guess what? I ended up losing. But that's for another reason. And that's for another episode that you should check out. People that are older don't care about what other people think. So speed up the process and you'll save a lot of years and a lot of headaches. I do a lot of things and I catch myself sometimes even doing things that I might think are kind of accepted and it won't have me embarrassed. For example, I carry around a gallon of water just to stay hydrated. I like doing it. It's one refill every day. And people always say something about it. And I'll catch myself sometimes wanting to, maybe bring a normal water bottle into class, but I'm like, no, no, no. I know that this is the thing that I want. I want this gallon of water. I don't care what people think about me. It's a skill that you have to learn. But once you let go, you realize that nobody really cares about you. You realize that people are so consumed by their own lives that all they have time for is a quick little jab. Oh, you carry around a gallon of water? That's weird. And that's it. They don't care that much about you. When you compare yourself all the time, you feel like you're not doing enough. And you fail to realize that we're all human. You think that, oh, there's this person right here that I look up to, and he's probably putting in so much work right now. And he might be. But you just have this consensus that just because I'm not doing it, people are outworking me. And you get to choose whether this is going to be a motivation to you or a liability. And I think it can go either way. I can see this being something that can inspire me, but I could also see this being something that might make me feel like I'm not where I need to be and stay stagnant in that area. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. If you're listening to this on a podcast platform, please give this show a 5-star review if you think it deserves one. If you're listening to this episode on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and like. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Thank you.